recording.
We've got you on the record now.
Okay, we're cooking now.
All right, yeah, we're here with Star Wars Unlimited designer John Leo at Gen Con. This day two. Day two, yes.
It's Friday, that's all I know.
Yes, it's Friday.
It's the day of Fry.
We had a little bit of draft we did a little bit earlier, but now we get to talk with John about everything.
All things Star Wars Unlimited, yeah.
I guess first things first, how excited are you now to finally have the Twilight of the Republic stuff kind of out there so you can kind of start talking about that?
I'm so excited. Twilight of the Republic, Clone Wars era, the focus of the set. And for so many people, Clone Wars is that's foundational Star Wars text for those people. And I'm one of those people. I love Clone Wars. I love that era of the Star Wars stories. I'm so excited that it's out there and to be able to talk about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, the little bit we saw yesterday at the in-flight all looks really cool. Exploit is, I think that's going to be a really fun mechanic.
It's so fun. I love just turning little guys into a big guy. It's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's kind of start with, before we get into all the new stuff, Twilight and some of the other things we saw.
The other things.
Yeah,
there's a lot to talk about.
Yes. Let's just kind of start with, we did have a few questions, sort of about shadows and kind of some of the other stuff. And I guess one thing that some of our patrons and stuff, several people asked was, they were just, what heroes have you guys seen that maybe you didn't think would be as popular as they are going to be here in Shadows, or the inverse, maybe there's a hero that you guys are like, I can't believe we haven't seen more people playing this guy.
Sure. One thing that we've been really excited to see is the Han Solo leader from Set 2 in Aggression. He's got such a cool, flavorful ability of churning guys out ahead of curve, and they come in damaged. And it's performing really, really well, and I think it's about in line with our expectations. But we absolutely knew, this is a cool deck, and people are going to want to play it. One that's been really exciting to see is people playing Kira, because she's such an interesting design and kind of a funky design of damaging your units and then shielding them. And she's a fan favorite around the office, so it's been really, really exciting to see the design and the character resonating with people, for sure.
Awesome. What about any other cards in general, like that you think maybe some people are sleeping on?
Sleeping on? That's a good question. I think that people are, or the player base is starting to adapt, right? And the meta is starting to Set 2 obviously shook things up quite a lot. It's fun to see a lot of the Set 1 decks have evolved, right? There's still Boba Fett cunning decks running around. There's still Boba Fett green decks, Sabine decks running around. But it's cool that there's counterplay and smuggle coming into the frame, and people are playing tech, for example, who gives you a resource to smuggle, a hotshot blaster. All those cards, I think people are picking up on the play pattern is really exciting and interactive in a way that's pretty cool.
So I guess we could save this for the end, but we got so much to talk about. We're just going to get out of the way now. You have to pick one card out of the whole set. What is your favorite? Number one most favorite card?
Endless Legions.
Easy enough.
That's the one card I don't have yet from this set.
Really?
That's the only one I haven't pulled.
It was the first legendary that I pulled from this set, so I did offer it up already. So can't blame me for not having it.
I remember when I first started, we were wrapping up Set 2. And so we were still testing and balancing some stuff. And I was my first deck pretty much that I built of Star Wars Unlimited was an Endless Legions ramp deck. And so to see that card in the wild and see people playing it, there's no other card in the game that feels more Star Wars Unlimited than having a resource row, those cards matter, they interplay, and it's just so evocative of just like this massive deployment of forces all at once. What a card! It's so fun.
So regarding now in this, so we've got smuggle and bounty, 2 new keywords we saw here. I mean, is that something that's going to be considered like evergreen keywords? Are we going to see those going forward?
Oh, sure.
Or is this something that we're going to sort of see cycle out? You know?
Sure. So these are, we're considering them like, these are set to mechanics.
Okay.
There's nothing to say that smuggle cannot come back. There's also no promise that it will. So I would say, you know, enjoy it. If you like the mechanic, you know, let us know, you know, and we're sort of tracking how it plays in the wild. But yeah, we've announced the new mechanics for set 3, for example, you know, coordinate and exploit. And so, yeah, we want to make sure that the door is never closed on a mechanic, and that it can come back in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about being really happy to see certain leaders who are a little different than we saw in set 1.
Sure.
Are there any that you or your team particularly love, but maybe they're not seeing as much love as you might have expected?
For me, I try to not have those expectations personally. One thing that's really exciting about making a card game is you sort of make the thing, you put it in the wild, and stuff happens. One of my go-to things I like to tell people is that I don't sell cathedrals, I sell bricks. And what that means is like, the shape that things are going to take is really up to you guys. It's up to the community. It's up to the players. And we just try to make the right design decisions so that when the cards come out, some things will resonate with people and cool stuff will come out. So as far as like things meeting or not meeting my expectations, I'm just happy to play. You know, I'm just happy that people are enjoying the game, and that people are like engaging with it. The meta continues to evolve, and you know, it's all that.
Yeah. Since you already said that, you know, they were wrapping up set 2 kind of when you first came on, I'm guessing this might not be something you're really going to be able to answer.
Sure.
But is there like a favorite part of yours that you can tell us about yet that you've kind of been heavily involved in the design of?
Sure. I can tell you the first card that my fingerprints are on, and that's the boss leader from set 2.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think it was like my second week on the job, we had Card Council. And in case you don't know, Card Council is where we have the whole design team has a meeting where we review every single card in the set, top to bottom, every number, every word, every letter on the card. And you know, we try to go through it with as fine a tooth comb as humanly possible. And this means hours and hours and hours of just looking at the cards and you know, talking about them. So every card is a conversation, you know. Is this card serving its intended purpose, right? Does it feel balanced? Are the traits correct? Do they feel right? For the kind of the message we want to send with the card. And I remember being so green and so new at the job, and just feeling like a little bit of imposter syndrome at this Card Council, because you know, this game has been in development for a long time, and this thing is so much bigger than any one of us. We were like kind of trying to figure out boss, and the conversation was like so involved. It was like, does he, you know, we wants to do something with bounties. I think we were like, okay, you want to put bounties on enemy units and then damage them. And then MJ Cuts, who started at the same time as me, was like, well, what if you could put them, you'd play bounty units and bump them, and then I think the words came out of my mouth, but it's kind of a fugue state, and maybe I'm taking credit for something I shouldn't. But I think the do a bounty twice on the flip side was like, you know. Anyway, that conversation was the first time I actually felt like I was offering feedback and offering ideas in a way that was maybe meaningful or conducive to the final product. And then of course involvement escalates over the course as you sort of get your feet wet and get acclimated to how the game works and all that. So more and more, set 3 we'll see a little bit more and so on until I was a co-lead on set 5, so that'll be much more involved.
Okay, we got questions about set 5.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
I'm going to go off script really quick because a question occurred to me.
Yeah.
Something that we've been discussing over the last couple of days is how. Well, I'm sure a lot of thought is given from how set 1 connects to set 2 and set 2 connects to set 3, how the cards mesh together. Are there any set 1 and set 2 together interactions you're just it fired off exactly the way you wanted or even better than you expected it to?
I mean, there are some obvious things, maybe like Boba Fett's armor, for example, is a card that would have made sense in set 1, right? But it also makes so much sense in set 2 in the sense that it's the set that cares about the previous, right? It cares about the idea of armoring up your characters. It makes sense in that we introduced another Boba Fett leader, and it can go on either or the unit. So in that sense, I think that card feels like it's in conversation with both set 1 and set 2 in a way that just makes a lot of sense. From set 2 to set 3, we're going to see, or even set 1 to set 3, because of course they'll be in premiere, of course, at the same time. So when the previews start rolling out, we'll be seeing this leader was pretty fun to play before, but now they got some gas here. That's there's a lot to look forward to, I think, as the game continues to sort of take shape.
So here with this set, I know like you said again, it was kind of wrapping up as you were coming in, but clearly there was definitely some stuff that wasn't finalized. Awesome. What card do you think you saw kind of had the most change as from where it was to what we got at release?
It's hard to remember. It's a lot. I don't know if I have a satisfying answer for that one.
We'll say boss.
Sure, why not?
There you go.
Especially because I didn't see the initial designs for the cards. I didn't get to see the whole arc of their life. But I would imagine that the vast majority of cards, at least from working on every set after that, more or less from the beginning.
We'll come back to this question for set 5.
I'm going to have so much to talk about. This time next year, we'll be playing set 5.
Nice,
That's wild to think about.
It is.
Yeah.
It truly is.
I guess
so how long before set 2 is going to be coming out? Do you guys have to finalize things here? How long before a set releases are you guys locked in?
So the gestation period for a set is pretty long. From visioning, which is where we sort of come up with a broad idea of what the set's going to look like, what it's going to feel like, themes of the set, before we even get into what are the mechanics. There's a long arc from that to pre-release. For context, we are done with set 5. But it's not printed yet, so it's somewhere sort of it's done with development, but it's not. So that comes out this time next year.
Yeah. Okay. So you're kind of locking it.
About a year-ish?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's cool. Yeah.
More, or around a year.
Yeah. Okay.
We worked really far ahead.
Yeah, so let's maybe mention. So we did get to see the 3 next expansions.
Yeah, the set titles, right?
Yes, and we've got the Jump to Lightspeed, which, as we've already said, that's clearly the Star Wars Galaxies expansion.
100%.
Yeah. I don't know. I just love. I like that game and this game, same name for their expansions. Then we got Legends of the Force and the Secrets of Power.
Oh yeah.
Which is an ominous sounding set.
It sure is awesome.
Yes.
It's a great set.
And actually, I had a thought and then I lost it and it just came back, so I want to get it out.
Yeah.
So you mentioned when you're doing the envisioning for each set,
Yeah.
does it always start with top down, like theme first, and then figure out mechanics, or do you sometimes go, what kind of mechanics do we want to see, and then pick out from Star Wars where to fill that in?
It really depends. So for set 5, for example, we knew that there was some stuff we wanted to do, some ground we wanted to cover in terms of, and the mechanical implementation was sort of iterated and developed over the course of early design development. Whereas set 7, which is my sort of my baby.
Oh, exclusive.
Yeah.
Set 7.
Yeah, I mean it will exist. Surprise, surprise. But it was like I pitched like mechanics and theme at the same time, and they're like absolutely inextricable from each other. And that mechanic pretty much has remained unchanged all the way through design, playtesting, from.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
So, yeah, sometimes it's like you come up with one and then you build the right thing to fit it, and sometimes they're conceived at the same time. It really just depends.
For example, like bounty, like obviously we gotta put bounty in this game, but
Absolutely.
how do we make it work?
And yeah, exactly. How does it feel? And it just depends.
Gotcha. Okay, now we can talk about all the new stuff.
Okay. Well, not counting Legends of the Force then, since that's what was yours.
That one had a lot of hands on it, but I'm one of the co-leads with Joe O'Neill and Aaron Halton. Yeah.
Which one of those 3 do you think is your favorite to play? Of those
4,
3,
5, and
which
6?
one do you think is your favorite?
I love set 5.
Oh yeah.
I love set 5. And it's around the office. We consider it a great set for drafting.
Awesome.
If you like drafting, you're gonna love set 5.
drafting.
You're gonna
Okay.
love Legends of the Force.
Oh, I'm sorry. Another question just came to mind.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing it.
Something else we've been discussing is drafting a set versus drafting like a series of sets.
Whoa, that's interesting.
Yeah, so we like if you were to draft 1, 2, 3, or at this point like 1, 2, 2 maybe.
Sure.
You're going to wind up with a lot of bounty in set 2, and not a lot in set 1.
Right.
But Underworld, there's a ton of in set 1.
Sure.
So I don't know if that's been if that sort of experience is thought about too much.
Not too much. We definitely want to cross-pollinate some, and that's mostly for the benefit of construction. So like having Underworld stuff in set 1, they complement stuff in set 2. Absolutely on purpose, but not really thought of in terms of the draft experience for the intermingling of 2 sets.
Okay. Yeah.
You absolutely could do it. I cannot vouch that it will 100% be a good or balanced experience.
Right.
But that's life. I say give it a try. Build a cube with your friends and go for it.
That's what I tell everybody. Build a cube.
I love cubing. Tyler has a cube. I have a cube. If you are a drafter, you want to play like experience or curate your own draft experience, I say go for it.
Mine is because I don't have all the rares and legendaries. It's a common uncommon cube. That's the
Awesome.
fave.
That sounds great. That sounds like a
Popper
fun.
cubes are cool. though.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, and I don't know if I've got to tell anyone this from the team before, but I love the signpost cards in uncommon.
Yes.
That's so good. I love it.
It just makes a lot of sense too. To open a pack and your comments are sort of going to be your like building blocks. There's going to be some really good glue cards, and you want them showing up at about the right rate. And so uncommon just makes a lot of sense.
It's so wonderful to see that.
It just makes sense.
As opposed to old CCGs where it's just like, well, my rare is somebody's monoculars and not Darth Vader.
Sure. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
But everyone loved pulling red cards in the rare slot in the Star Wars CCG. Gosh.
Jump to Lightspeed.
Yes. Yes.
So exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can infer space in that set.
I mean, Star Wars
Yeah.
Unlimited, you've got
everything.
all kinds of words in
But
that
some of them
title.
are on the back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's the problem is it's like you're really excited about that stuff, but it's hard to come up with a question that we know you
That
can
is
actually answer about those sets beyond. These sets exist.
I can tell you that they rule,
Yeah,
and that they're a lot of fun.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Gosh,
Actually, we've got about a dozen cards spoiled from Twilight.
Yeah, Twilight of the Republic.
Yeah, we were reviewing them last night after my hastily taken pictures during the trailer. We got on the website, looked at the article. As far as we're concerned, like they're all bangers.
Sure.
Is there any one of those that you're just like, I cannot wait for you to play this?
Man, there's a lot of great cards in set 3. I think the Ahsoka leader is a lot of fun. I've played a lot of her in set 3 playtesting and found her to just be a really enjoyable leader. She loves like the coordinate keyword. It really encourages you to like try to go wide, right? And there are a variety of ways to do that in Twilight of the Republic. So I'm really excited for people to get their hands on the Ahsoka leader and give her a try. But I mean, there's so many awesome cards in this set.
yeah. Then the artwork, every single one of them, just S tier.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you got to see the playmats that they previewed at the
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I want that speeder bike playmat so
Me
bad.
too. Man, when I was a kid, the speeder bikes were like one of my favorite things about Star Wars. And so to see that playmat, I got to see it up close a couple of days ago, and I was like, 10-year-old me would be flipping out right now, because I'm flipping out right now. It's so exciting.
We love the playmats that have the zones on them.
Sure.
But then I said, that's great, but that image, that speeder bike image is so good, people are going to want it zone free so they can put it on their wall.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The zones are a great teaching tool.
Yeah, I think they're cool. Like I want it like for streaming. You know, I
Oh,
think
for sure.
it just looks good on the webcam.
Oh,
stream
I
for
never
playing
go
games.
anywhere without my favorite playmat. I like that thing's in my backpack 24/7.
Yeah.
How you like Minnesota? Living in Minnesota now.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know that I lived in Indianapolis for a long time, so Gen Con feels a lot like coming home. But getting to like come into the FFG offices and spend time up close with my teammates and work on the game in person, you know, it's really special. It's a great experience. That said, you know, it's no Indianapolis. Right?
Fair enough.
Indy still feels like home when I'm here for sure.
And I know you mentioned earlier when you first started, you kind of had that imposter syndrome feeling.
Yeah.
Was this your first job in the industry here?
No, it wasn't. I got my start working at a company where they sort of made a lot of stuff, and they wanted to break into games and game accessories. And I was a copywriter there, and I sort of moved into product development for them and started there. And I worked at a couple of other studios, sort of on my journey.
Okay, yeah.
But FFG is like the place that I always wanted to work.
Yeah.
I cut my teeth on like my entry into the hobby gaming as like a pastime and something that I cared about was like Lord of the Rings LCG, Arkham Horror board game, Game of Thrones second edition board game, Twilight Imperium third edition, right? Like these games were like major milestones for me as a gamer and just like at huge junctures in my life. And so for me, like great games and Fantasy Flight have always been the same. They're synonymous to me. So to be, I said earlier, I feel like I'm part of something bigger than myself, and working on Star Wars really feels like that.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I mean that's Fantasy Flight's why our podcast exists too.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, X-Wing came out. I'd never done minis gaming before. It was so awesome. You know, we were like, let's talk about this stuff some more. You know?
Yeah, I like it. And so many stories are like that, right? Like games, it's so funny, but when you look back and think about like the games that are important to you, right? Like you can really tell a lot about your life story based on what games you have loved over your life.
Yeah.
And you know, it just feels really special to be a tiny part of something like that.
Yeah. And I mean, and I think it's also been really great that you guys have been so open and available, you know, throughout this game's development and now release and beyond.
And it seems like everyone on the team has gotten to shine and to have a voice. At least from what we're seeing.
Yeah. I mean, like, one of the neat things about games is that they're made by people. And, like, I work with some of the smartest people in the industry, you know, on the Unlimited team, but also just, like, around the studio. You know, I get to work with people who, like, I've long admired as professionals in this industry and in this creative field. And it's just so cool. And I think the studio has done a great job of making it clear to the fans that this is a game for which the support is absolute.
Yeah.
You know, from Jim Cartwright and his tattoos of the aspect icons.
Yeah.
All the way down to, you know, Xander and Alicia and the design team. You know, we all really care about this game and making sure that people know that we love it and that it matters to us.
It's very obvious.
Good.
Yeah. Maybe you can tell us this. When should we expect spoiler season to start?
For set 3?
Yes. We're not asking for spoilers, don't worry. We just want to know when the spoilers
I would love to
start.
spoil stuff for you. I don't know what it starts.
Okay. Very good. That's the marketing team, isn't it?
Yes.
We got Buck Sander about that.
One of those other things where I'm really glad that I have nothing to do with it. When they tell me I can talk about stuff, I'm like, okay, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Soon.
Yeah.
Soon, I would expect.
We like that answer.
I mean, we want to make sure that the excitement for this game stays high, and that the cycle of hype is respected and observed.
Yes.
But we also want to make sure people get time with Shadow of the Colors.
Yeah, I love the like month-ish kind of breathing time you guys have been giving the sets so far, because some other games it feels like it's non-stop relentless spoilers.
Sure.
Yep.
It can be exhausting. And like every set is really special, and I think deserves a certain amount of time to just breathe, right?
Yeah.
And to just let the meta shake up and shake out a little bit, and then new stuff.
Yeah.
And to keep that sort of cycle going is, I think, makes a lot of sense, both as a consumer, like as a fan of games, and also from like the industry standpoint. It just makes sense.
Well, I mean, we've already got new shipments of set 1 and set 2 on the calendar.
Absolutely. Yes, the reprints, they are coming before Christmas. as far as I know. And yeah, and so like it'll be a little bit of like a retrospective, and by the time they hit, it'll pretty much be set free time as well.
Yeah.
And there'll be old stuff and new stuff at the same time. It's gonna be really cool.
Well, we'll be sure to let you know how 1, 2, 3 draft goes.
I really want to try it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, it kind of. We were talking about it because it reminded me sort of like back in the days of when Magic used to come in blocks. You know,
Yeah, sure.
You know, you do that like you do draft or sealed from like split across the whole block. But,
Once set 6 comes out, I want to do 1 through 6 sealed.
oh yeah,
I don't know if the decks will be playable, but it's sure going to be
they'll
fun.
be fun. Yeah.
Well, because everyone's going to just be building their same crazy decks
Exactly.
from the same crazy pool.
Yeah, it sounds fun to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know. Let's see if this is going to be a vague enough thing you can answer. But 4 set 5.
Yes.
If we were to ask someone else, what would they say?
I was just gonna say, was there maybe anything that was inspiring you during your designs?
I mean, for Legends of the Forest?
Yes.
So much. So much. The galaxy of Star Wars is so vast, right? And there's so many like corners to explore and to dig into. When we were working on set 5, we were like, from the beginning, we knew what it was going to be.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. I can't wait for you guys to see it. It's going to be awesome.
I can't wait.
This time next year, you'll be sick of it already.
This time next year we'll be drafting that.
Well, exactly. We'll be drafting Legends of the Force. We'll be talking about all the cool cards that are coming over the course of set 3, 4, set 5. There's so much to look forward to. Like, the future is so bright right now. It's unbelievable.
Well, thank you very much, John, for taking the time to talk with us here. I hope you have a great rest of Gen Con, and I think we're going to see you later tonight.
I'll see you tonight.
All right.
Let's get some games in, okay?
Yes, awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.